Welcome to the how-to video of our Industry 4.0 system. In the next few minutes we will guide you, step by step, through the setup of the configuration and the initial commissioning of our modern training system. For an interactive instruction with additional information and graphics, our e-learning course is also available. Each component of our system is carefully packaged to ensure maximum protection during transport. After unpacking, we begin with the setup of the system. Since the PLCs are already programmed by us upon delivery, the order of the belts must be followed during the setup of the systems. For this purpose, we find a numbering system on the belts that helps us with the setup. By simply aligning the same numbers together, we will place the first belt at the back so that the finished product is ejected at the front of the system at the end. If we do not have curves available, we can also set up the system as a line. This is particularly the case with smaller systems with 3 belts, but it is also possible with larger ones. Next, the stations are placed on the belts. Attention must be paid with the stations, that they are placed in the correct orientation. The orientation is also specified here by the numbers on the stations. We start with the assembly station for the underbody group. This station is identifiable by the RFID sensor on the magazine. Unless the insertion of circuit boards with a robot is planned for the system, followed by the stations for the chassis, painting and discharging the cars. Depending on the size of our system, additional stations such as quality control or label printers can be inserted between the painting and the ejection station. The car chassis are clamped by the separators. In addition to the belts and stations, a PC and a Wi-Fi router are also required. Now it's time for the wiring. First, the stations are connected to the belts. For this, we use the 25-pin sub-D cables, which are routed from the station to the belt. This connection facilitates both data communication and power supply to the stations. Next, the communication of the individual belts with the ERP system must be established. For this, we connect all the belts to the PC via an Ethernet bus. The router can be used as a switch in this setup. We must ensure that no ring topologies are created here. For the power supply, we use the appropriate power cables. Alternatively, the power can be supplied at one point and distributed via the 4mm safety measuring leads. Finally, the air supply must be set up. Since the system has already been commissioned once at our company, a pre-cut hose is already available. Additional hose material is supplied. From the hose, 4mm hoses branch off via T-pieces, leading to the stations. At the beginning of the hose, there is an end valve. We connect this side either to a permanently installed compressed air connection or a compressor. If the lightweight compressor we offer is used, we first ensure that the air filter is attached to the air inlet. Additionally, the compressor should contain enough oil. The oil level must be in the middle of the sight glass when the system is turned off. The oil level should be checked regularly and refilled if necessary. Approximately 7 bar is required for the operation of the system. It is recommended to use a dedicated PC for the operation of the system. This can also be an empty PC or a laptop. For the actual operation of the system, only the ERP lab from Lucas-Nuelle is required, which is run in a virtual machine. For the operation of the ERP lab, VMware Workstation Pro is recommended. We first download the software and then install it. Additionally, we copy the ER plab from the supplied USB stick with the solutions label onto a local hard drive. After copying, we extract the file. In addition to these necessary steps, we also recommend installing LabSoft. LabSoft is the course software from Lucas-Nuelle. This allows you to view and work through all courses related to the various equipment. The courses provided with the system also come on a USB stick. This can be identified by the corresponding label. We install the software and all accompanying courses simply via the setup file. In the Industry 4.0, with IMS course, we find the commissioning instructions again in detail. To commission the ERP lab, we start the VMware Workstation Pro. There, we open our extracted virtual machine. To establish a connection to the production line, a network bridge must be set up to the network card of the PC. Open the virtual network editor and add a new network. Bridge the network to the network card that is connected to the production line and confirm the settings. Now the virtual machine can be started. The ER plab comes with a standard IP address of 172.28.111.177. Let's check if there is communication between the ERP and the system. To do this, we open the terminal and type ping 172.28.111.11 into the command line. This is the standard address of the first PLC. If, as seen here, no connection exists, this is most likely due to the IP settings of the network card being used. So, we open the network properties, go to the corresponding adapter and adjust the IP address. Subsequently, we check the connection with a new ping. Is this successful? We can minimize the virtual machine and open a browser. Here we enter the address of the ER plab. The application's homepage opens. Now the system configuration must be carried out in the ERP lab. This happens in the so-called manufacturing execution system. To open the MS, we click on the corresponding tab and enter admin as the username and admin as the password. Now, in our completely empty MS, we create a new system in the Plans tab. First, we assign a unique key and then a name for the production line, as it will later be displayed in the SCADA. Under config, we can already choose a template for the system. If our system is not available, we select a similar template. In the final step, we choose whether we have table belts or the industry version and then click on Save. Now we switch to the Belts tab, which is already pre-configured due to the template. Were you able to use a template which exactly matches your system? So we only need to enter the IP addresses of the belts. Click on the belt to do this. In the settings, a station name and key were initially assigned. Additionally, the newly created production line has already been selected. Under Address, we enter the corresponding IP address of the belt. The addresses of the belts start at 172.28.111.11 for the first belt and increase by one number for each subsequent one. Subsequently, we can adjust the belt and station type again. Through sorting, the display order in SCADA is adjusted. Create order refers to the first belt in the production line. Under Part A and Part B, the workpieces for the respective station can be added. If the station only has one magazine, we leave Part B empty. At the very bottom under Connections, we can define the structure of the system. If your specific system was not included in the templates, you need to make adjustments here. Specifically, we determine here which station was installed before and which station was installed after the current one in the system, so that the system knows how the workpiece carrier must be moved. If you have a line, leave the left side of the first belt and the right side of the second belt free. After you have configured this for all the belts in your system, switch back to the Agents tab and update all agents once. With that, the settings in the MS are complete. Now go to SCADA in the navigation bar. In SCADA, you can monitor the status of your system. If all settings were correct, a green station key will appear under the station names. This means that an OPC-UA connection has been established between the ERP lab and the system. The cars must first be registered in the ERP lab. The car boards connect to the ERP lab via the pre-configured WLAN. Has this happened? You can find the connected cars in the MS under the Cars tab. The MAC addresses of the cars are automatically entered here. Now we just need to add the RFID identifier. This is scanned when inserted into the station, and the ERP lab thus knows which board is currently being installed. You can find the RFID either on a sticker on the board or you need to read it with your phone. This can be easily done on both iOS and Android with the free app NFC Tools. The RFID addresses always start with E0. By activating Show Debug Formula, we can then test individual functions under cars. Now we can make adjustments in the root settings of the MS. Log out of the MES and log in, then log in again with the username root and the password root. Here we now have the config tab compared to before. Here is the specific point. ERP address is important for systems that use a label printer. Enter the IP address of the ERP lab here, in our case, http 172.28.111.177. Then click on Save. Now the workpieces are inserted into the magazines. If no robot takes over the insertion of the boards, they are already placed in the magazines into the underbodies of the cars. Ensure the board is positioned correctly, so that the RFID chip can be read by the sensor. All settings are now complete and we are ready for the first production. To start production, we now place a workpiece carrier with an RFID tag into the system. We ensure that the tag is positioned above the RFID sensor. Is the tag being read? The carrier is automatically moved to the starting point. We have two options for ordering. The quick option is through the quick order. To do this, we go to the corresponding tab in the navbar and then simply select a block or a car in a color to be produced. The production should start immediately after clicking the blue button. The second option to place an order is through the integrated web shop. To do this, we go to the Shop tab in the navbar. In the web shop, we select the product we want to order, with the corresponding options. Subsequently, we proceed through the shopping cart and the payment process. We can choose the simple way as a guest here and then start the order. This may take a few seconds, until the order has been processed and sent to the production line. In the order menu, we can now view the orders placed and obtain further information. Congratulations! Your Industry 40 system is now ready for use. With this training system, you are well equipped to master the challenges of digital transformation and actively shape the future of the industry.